Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on Beyond the Frame. I'm Jay Nephew, your host for today. And with me, I have two incredible guests. One is the owner of ABC Gates Bowl in Rochester, New York, Mr. Russ Vallone. Hi, Russ.
Hey, how are you?
And then also along with Russ, we have advisor to Russ, Mr. Kelvin Parker, also from Rochester. Kelvin, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. Listen, guys, thank you for joining me today. I'm just going to pull up the, I tell this every time over here, I'm going to pull us up on the side so I can watch for comments, because I'm hoping we end up having a couple of comments come in along the, I got to turn the sound on. Sorry about that. It's distracting hearing yourself talk in one ear and you're talking something else 3 seconds later in the other and you're trying to watch comments. But hey, we got it down now. So.
Right.
ABC Gates Bowl in Rochester, New York, iconic center for Rochester, New York. For those of you who aren't familiar with Rochester, Western New York, between Syracuse and Buffalo, if you went to USBC Open a couple years ago in Syracuse, then you probably drove through Rochester or by it on the way if you landed in Buffalo. That's for sure you did. But longtime center in Rochester Gates Bowl was the original home of the Lilac City Tournament team event back in the day, and this is back in my early days, like the 80s and the 70s, right?
80s.
Well, for sure the 80s, because you guys weren't born then, but some of us were.
50th. So.
Okay. And now, since the Lilac City Tournament, has kind of dwindled over the past several years, it was owned originally by, or leased by, AMF Corporation when they were one big thing, and then of course then Bolero ended up with it in the long run. And you got Russ, you have purchased the center from the private ownerships when their lease ran out, and now you're running the facility. Changed the name to ABC Gates Bowl, and ABC stands for
Better Choice.
Better Choice, right? And you have decided that you're going to take a little bit different marketing stance with this center. For people around the country that aren't familiar with Western New York, it is really a purist heaven. Like from Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Southern Ontario, a little bit of Erie, PA, a little bit of Southern, Central New York, and Northern PA there. This whole like community, that purism of bowling, and I think it mirrors in Detroit, it mirrors over in Wisconsin. You see a lot of that same mentality up there, but it is really limited to the Northeast. I'm going to just put that in a big general Midwest, Northeast kind of mentality, where you really honor the sport of bowling. Your base is league. You like tournaments. These are all kinds of buzzwords that have gone by the wayside in the regular industry for a few years now. And you've taken over this facility, Russ, and Kelvin, you're advising along the way. Look, we have an audience here. We have a built-in revenue stream that wants us to go, I don't want to say back to the way it was, but to maintain at least this, purism mentality. Tell us a little bit about your current customer clientele. How many league bowlers do you have?
We currently have about 1,400 league bowlers.
1,400 league bowlers on a 48-lane center?
48 lanes, yep.
Wow, I can't believe I remembered that. And when did you take over the bowling center?
June 1st.
June 1st of 2021. Of 2020, I'm sorry.
2020, yeah.
So you've been there about 6 months, 8 months, for lack of a better, time frame. And Kelvin, you've been a longtime friend of Russ for, ever since I've known you. You guys have been friends
since junior leagues.
Yep. Since junior leagues, right? Kelvin, for those people who don't know who you are, now Russ, you've been a competitor your whole life. You've won lots of tournaments and lots of money. You beat my ass many times, which I am not grateful for, but I'm happy about now. And Kelvin, likewise, you're a very talented bowler, but you chose a little bit of a different path. You took over the Lilac Scratch Challenge kind of environment. You and Chris Warner, Cheeseburger. Dave Warner, I'm sorry. Hamburger,
Yep.
as they're more affectionately known as. You guys brought that kind of tournament back from the dead. It was a one-day big scratch thing, and you have filled it year over year over year. The Bud Light Challenge, you call it now, right?
Yes. Yep.
Brought it to Syracuse, brought it to Buffalo, kept it in Rochester. No matter where you go, you're successful. So you have a good history of understanding what a competitive scratch bowler wants and providing that environment and making it a really big success. How does that help Russ in his efforts moving forward?
It's interesting because when you're running a tournament, you have to rely on the bowling center. You got to rely that they're going to staff it correctly. You got to hope everything's running correct. And at the time we're going to these different centers, especially Syracuse and Buffalo. We live here in Rochester, so I have to take their word that everything is good there.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting because we ran a couple tournaments here, and now being on the other side of it, the interesting part is, with Bud Light Challenge, my whole thing was always start on time.
Yeah.
If it's 9 o'clock start time, I'm starting at 9 o'clock.
If you ain't here, you're gonna learn. You need to be here next time.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny now because being on the other side of it, we've had a couple tournaments here that was supposed to start at 1:30, that then start at 2 o'clock. But it's like, keeping Russ calm, like it's okay because now that we're on the other side of it, the bar business is okay now because they go to the bar, they're going to eat. So, me being a little late oiling the lanes, it's okay. So it's interesting though, but it's a different transition. It's different being on the other side because even though that, your staff now, you're still praying that, everyone's giving that 110% because it's a tournament and, explaining to them that, there's people coming that normally doesn't bowl here.
Right.
Everything. So, that's the bigger portion of it now.
Well, I'm going to point out to people who are watching. I want to say hi to Mike Marcanio, Terry Decker, Bill Stoddard. Bill Stoddard, don't let him in your house. He'll drink your vodka out of the freezer and not tell you. Look, you're not getting out of that. Happened in 1989. I'm telling you, and I'm still holding them accountable. Jerry Brunetti Jr., who now lives in Florida. Hi, Jerry. Bill Stoddard's there, like I said, and Mike Marquinhos said they did a phenomenal job remodeling the entire facility like no other. Good for you guys. That's not an easy thing to do. That's an investment to make in a long-term vision. So what kind of remodeling did you do? I saw the carpet went in. I saw you painted walls. What else did you do to make the place a little bit more of your own?
Painted the ceilings, which was huge.
Oh, geez, crow. That must have been a
mess.
An undertaking. Now, those of you who aren't from the Northeast, smoking didn't stop there for a long time. So a lot of the ceilings there were not white anymore, and
not even beige anymore.
Not even beige anymore. So that must have made just an incredible visual impact for the bowlers that come there, right?
Yes.
Kelvin, you were talking before we came on air. You were saying, our goal with the center, or you've advised Russ that what the common goal should be: take care of these bowlers, take care of this league base, grow the league base, bring in tournament play, and welcome it and grow that too. But you really said something that was interesting to me. You said, and the kids, and I just laughed at you and said, oh, you have a kids program? And you said,
we have a junior program that's about 140 kids.
And it started out at about 40 when you took it over. Now, I remember, of course, I'm sounding old.
We even have a Friday afternoon junior.
See, there you go. I remember back in the day, Gates Bowl in Rochester had the largest youth program. I mean, Dewey did a good job. There was a couple of centers. Empire always had a huge program, but Gates was one of the foremost ones. They were full 2 and 3 shifts, and because they were so close to Olympic, and we worked well with them. They were often our competitors, but they were often our friends too. So we knew what was going on there. And to see that deteriorate over time wasn't necessarily a reflection of AMF or Bullmore, whoever took it over. It was a reflection more, in my opinion, of how society has changed and what we do for entertainment and the way we spend our free time. But you look at it differently now. You say, look, people do want to bowl. They do want to be a part of these programs. We just need to show them how to do it. And that is very powerful to have someone like yourselves with the background that you have and the ability to make it happen. And you're growing the youth program. So kudos to you for that. Brad Miller's on. He says, very happy for you both. Ron Legler got me to go out Saturday for the doubles tournament, and I'm glad he did. Wonderful center, wonderful people. These are some comments that are coming in from you guys. So you're less than a year into it, and this is the response you're having. I am only imagining that it's going to get even better. But let's go back to the early days. what did you learn? What was the first lesson you learned, Russ, when you took, or both of you together, when you took over the center? What was the hardest thing to wrap your head around that you were like, I didn't think about this?
COVID.
COVID. Nobody planned to not have, well, now let me say, you took that place over in June. COVID was high impact at that point in time. But nobody planned for this. So how's that changed your mindset moving forward?
Well, I think it made us tougher, because, and more confident. Most people will say, are you crazy opening a business during a pandemic, correct?
Right.
I mean, that's the most common thing I always hear. Oh, I feel terrible for you. But if we get through this, we get through anything.
Nice.
The change that comes with, as you were saying, with just day-to-day life, we can withstand anything if we get through a pandemic. And, you know, a lot of people didn't understand, and I explained to people, this wasn't a, you know, oh, we're going to just get into bowling. And then a week later, this was a 3-year project leading up to June 1st, 2020. So there was no stopping. We had to keep pushing forward. And I guess what we learned is the perseverance always wins in the end.
Perseverance always wins. You did say interesting points there. Anthony Simonson says these guys are good. When Simo tells you you're,
I owe Anthony a big favor, so tell him I said hello, and he has a favor.
You're telling him, he's watching right now. Simo is such a good guy, and when he tells you you're good, you know you're good, because he doesn't give that comment out lightly. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he didn't tell me I was good when I was bowling with him on the regional a couple months ago.
That's right. Didn't you guys win a tournament together?
We didn't win. We finished.
Oh, you did.
5th.
Sorry.
I struggled on day 2. What can I say? But we would have finished a hell of a lot lower if he wasn't my partner. I'll tell you that much, because he would tell me, why don't you just use this ball? Look, just use this ball and move here. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. And I just did it, and it worked. So thank you, Simon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Simon, for helping us fix our oil machine.
Yes.
Actually, that's one reason one of our tournaments was late. Our oil machine was malfunctioning, and I called Anthony up at, well, let's say it was noon here, and he was in Vegas.
Yeah.
But, you know, graciously, he helped us out. He answered the phone. And
On a
Sunday morning, we figured it out. So I owe
So
it.
interestingly enough, Simonson's another example of the guys that are like you. He's a competitor, a player, a champion first, who has gotten into ownership, and he's going about it in a completely different fashion than you guys did, right? He has
we talked about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's in a really interesting, unique marketplace, and he's trying to develop this kind of brand that's going to stand out there. I think he's doing a wonderful job of that. But he also has access to really deep industry insiders who are advising and helping him along the way. So he's making better informed decisions than you or I would have ever made at his age at that point in time. So kudos to him for that, for reaching out and doing that. And look at this, he's giving back to people like yourselves and me. He bowled me for, it was a charity cause, but hey, we'll call it that. I'll take the money. Jerry Brunetti says, turn up the volume, Russ and Kelvin. It's hard to hear you guys. So you may want to, lean in when you talk or something.
All right.
Yeah, that's better already. It's a little better. What's on tap for the future there? So you've remodeled, you've added some features. What about your food and beverage? Have you done anything with the bar and the snack bar area? If I remember correctly, there was a giant kitchen there, correct?
During the remodel, we completely gutted the bathrooms. That was our number one priority.
Well, thank God.
To the studs, new plumbing. The LaChase family helped us along the way with a lot.
Ray LaChase, also a very good bowler, and still competing at a high level, even though he's my age.
This is his uncle, Ray.
This is the LaChase family of the construction industry, correct? No, Ray is the construction. I had it backwards. I've been away for a while.
They redid a lot of the structural damages and stuff to plumbing, and they did the roof for us. But
these are all dollars that your customers never get to see you spend.
Right. Well, they did see it in the bathrooms, because that's the biggest compliment we get.
Good.
All new fixtures, hands-free, faucets, toilets, hand dryers, which kind of works out with the COVID thing.
Right.
But that was a big thing here.
Ripped out the whole entire bar, put in a whole new cooler system at the bar.
Yep.
Good.
Our top, so put a new floor in the bar area because they had carpet.
Yeah, I remember that. And
So-
that kind of a wall that separated the concourse from the bar had windows. Were the windows still there? Did they take those out at some point in time?
Those were taken out previous to us.
Okay, I think that's a better move. And nowadays, you want to open it up as much as possible.
yeah,
right?
now it's all open.
It's all wide open.
Nice, nice. And what about the meeting and I don't want to say banquet room, but it was always like the tournament check-in
Tournament
office down on
office.
the low end.
Yep.
Did you do anything with that space yet, or any plans for
Painted.
it?
We just painted in there. We're waiting on the next step is flooring.
Okay.
So
And are you going to keep it as a multi-purpose room, or are you going to turn it into a revenue center of some sort?
definitely going to host more banquets there
Okay, good, good, good.
and stuff.
So you're going definitely in a more traditional path forward, which, you know, when you say that the COVID was like, you know, something you weren't prepared for, I don't think anybody in the industry was prepared for that. But what's interesting that has happened since then is the saving grace to the bowling industry in many, many, many cases has been this traditional league customer. They're the first ones back in the center. They're the ones that come in and are supporting and bowling multiple leagues. Down here in the South, pick a day of the week, there's a tournament somewhere, a tournament on a Tuesday night with 70 entries. There's a tournament somewhere, you know, on a Saturday and Sunday. You got to pick which city you're going to go to bowl a tournament now. This one might have 100 entries. This one might have 60. This one might have 90. Where do you want to go? You know, oh, and you want a handicap and a scratch? Most of them are scandicap. I have to be careful in the way I say that. Some people are using the, that's my term, I call it. When I find a handicap event that maybe hasn't thought about how they can protect some of the integrity of the sport, they just say, you know, if they write the rules out, they'll say, notice how I said if, they'll say, you know, max cap 450 for doubles, cap 450, highest, and they don't even say what year they're using the average from, but everybody knows it's last year apparently. So, you know, when you coming from the purest sense of the word up there, you don't run a handicap event with no rules and no guidelines. Your chances are, if you're running a handicap event, you're going to use the highest average of the last at least 2 or 3 years.
Right. Around here, it's three. You go back.
Right. So the odds of somebody bowling 18, 25 games in a league and getting this 180 average this year and trying to use it at your event, it's not going to happen. No. But it does happen around the country. So this is the kind of mentality that as an owner operator, you are already setting yourself up for success, because you're not going to allow someone to come into your events and run it over with less than representable averages, we'll say. You know, right. You're going to be, I assume you share that info with your fellow tournament operators up there. I know how close-knit you all are. So somebody in Buffalo who is trying to cheat, somebody in Toronto, somebody in Erie, Pennsylvania, you know about it. You already have it on your radar. And when they come to your place to rock up trying to use that 179, before they throw a ball, you're like, oh, you're 212. We didn't tell you? Yeah, well, now you know. So you can bowl or you can go back. It's fine, but you're 212. That kind of thing is what's missing in some parts of the country. And I do only believe it's because people aren't aware that that's the best way to do it for the field, not for me as a tournament director,
right?
But for the field. And you have that mentality because that's the way you're born and raised and taught, and it's what the culture is around you. So
I think I got to give a little thanks to the guys that paved the road for us.
100%.
Don't have the roads paved down there yet.
Right. And the paving crew is not welcome sometimes. They like dirt roads sometimes. There's a reason why it's a little bit vague.
Yeah. And I think we've, you know, Jack Moran, Marcel Fournier, and all the other Frank Formico, all the
absolutely. The people, all the big classic tournament directors from the Northeast. You had Mr. Gay from Toronto who ran the Toronto Open. You have the Hoinkies. They were very much involved with the Mubig generation back in the day when Marcel and them started that Mubig corporation or organization. The sharing of data, the sharing of ideas.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah,
so
is pretty cool.
I was talking to Eddie Stewart the other day. He runs the pro shop pretty much. And we're talking about running our own summer tournament, kind of like the Lilac, format kind of idea.
And for those that are watching and aren't sure the Lilac, it's team, doubles, singles. It's a traditional style event, usually 3 events, all events, combine, little side stuff, but for the most off, it's 9 games.
Yep. So Eddie Stewart, talking to him, he's got a lot of knowledge. He actually had a folder that he brought in the other day with, and I'm just gonna read you a couple tournaments that he had because you'll understand. It's a book. He had the Alibi tournament, which I'm sure you remember at Bolero.
Yep.
Speaking of, let's see, he had the Bowl-In tournament that was in Buffalo.
The Bowl-In singles, I remember that at Kenmore, right?
Toronto Open Bolorama.
Yep. Wally Gay.
Wally Gay. The Greater Buffalo tournament.
Yep.
He brought me this book that has probably 12 different tournaments in it. The original Western Central at North Park Lanes.
The Lestessis back in the day, right?
Yeah. The book is from all the tournaments from 1988. He has in good condition.
The flyers and stuff for
how to put, take from all of them because they all were good and kind of build our own and start up something new.
That is a great. Now, Eddie Stewart is, God bless Eddie. Eddie's 116 years old. We're not sure exactly what year he was born. He says he's 106. He's probably 300 years old. We don't know.
He could be.
He could be. He's well preserved. We'll just leave it at that. And
Yoda.
But what we're lacking is characters like Eddie in our industry anymore. They've kind of gone by the wayside, right? I think it's great. No, I was just going to say, not there, right? It's great that you guys are honoring this tradition. You're not only making a good business out of it, you're showing other people that want to be a part of this industry and maybe want to continue tradition and grow this competitive side of the industry. You're showing them, hey, it can be done. You might have to do it slightly different than what we're doing it because we're doing it slightly different than we envisioned we would do it and that it was done in the past. And that's today's business lesson is nothing is going to be the same. Yeah. We talked about this before we went online. We spend time, every day it changes. And we spend our time wanting, especially the purists, we want it to be like it was. But once we accept that it's not going to be like it was, well, how can we make it the best now? And that's where you guys come in. You're the next generation of competitive play. I'm going to honor everything I can do to make ABC Gates Bowl the place to bowl league and tournament. And by the way, we'll still welcome our open play bowlers and we'll still create new leagues that people who aren't familiar with competition can be a part of and not feel intimidated by. And we'll get them into a regular league at some point. But our primary focus is to take care of this audience that's out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is nothing short of what it should be inspirational to everybody. I want to say, Anthony replied, he said, I'll always be a helping hand, Classic Products Corp, hashtag Team Classic, will always help me and help others. Phone is always on. If I can't figure it out, we got endless phone numbers to make it happen. So thank you to Anthony. And Jerry Brunetti Jr. says, how do I get an ABC hat? Of course, you know that Brunetti, he wants something for free, right? Send him a hat.
Come visit us one.
Oh, the hat is free upon entry to ABC Gates Bowl, Jerry Brunetti Jr. So you need to get your butt up there. Brad Miller says, shout out to men like Jack, Marcel, and Tom Bronco for paving the road. Agreed. Yes. That's that. So what do you want to leave our visitors, our watchers with today? Give them an inspiration. Give them something that inspires you. I want to hear from both of you. Neither one of you are taking the exit on this.
I'll let you go first. Well,
oh yeah, because you aren't making yours up off of his. FYI, it better be different.
Well, for me, on the bowling standpoint of it, a lot of these young guys probably don't know that every good bowler at one point came to Rochester, New York, and that was to bowl that Lilac Scratch Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Barnes, Bill Roll, Tommy Jones. I mean, all of them had been to Rochester, New York at some point to bowl that tournament at least once. So for me going forward, I want ABC Gates Bowl to be that iconic bowling center. I want to bring big tournaments here in the future. I want to have it to where the next generation can say, wow, these group of guys came to Rochester to bowl. I saw them bowl up close and, in person. And so for me, that's, I want it to grow and be that Western New York bowling center that every good bowler has walked through the doors.
Beautiful. So that is a really, really powerful vision right there. And I think it's completely achievable, Russ, give me some inspiration for our audience here.
I think just to build off of him, we've been so closely knit and, throughout our lives, even though we, didn't bowl together as much, we've always been tight, ideas and mentality. When I was a kid, I remember walking into Olympic Bowl and getting those chills with the bleachers to the ceilings. And a lot of people say, watching the pros, you would watch the show and it was a show.
Right.
Bowling center packed with people from New York, Rochester, New York, and its surrounding areas. And it always seemed like the biggest spectator. It looked like a coliseum. And a lot of people say you can't go back, you can't bring that back. And I agree, you can't go back in time.
No.
I can bring a piece of that to the younger generations, like he says, to carry on the tradition.
It's interesting. Marcel Fournier and Frank Formicola put a lot of their years and efforts into building the pro tour they started with the women, and then they had like one of the most successful regular tour stops forever. And it was because of the building and, the 3 bays that the pros would bowl on, 1 to 40, and the characteristics were unique. But when you say that it felt like a coliseum in there, you weren't wrong. The whole entire Western New York, Southern Ontario, Eastern Pennsylvania, that whole thing, everybody came together that week for the pro tour. Everybody came to Olympic. That was the mecca for those 7 days. And it didn't matter who owned what. We all came and we all supported. We all had an amazing time. And we showed the sporting industry what it's like to have a successful tour stop. And it was iconic, as there's no other way to say it. So I can only envision now, we talk about nothing, everything's always changing. What does the future look like for somebody who's 10 years old today and takes over you and buys the center from you when they're 40, and you've had a PWBA stop there and a regular tour stop, and don't forget us seniors, because we got to have a place to bowl too.
Yep.
You become this iconic center again where everybody wants to go through. So you're really setting that stage up to be that place for the future too. And God bless you for doing that. Any way that we can help you along the way, you've got a great network of people that can help you, and we're ready to do so. I'm going to read a couple more comments now. Mike Marquinhos says, that's what's missing in Rochester. There's traditional tournaments that draw bowlers from everywhere. Well, geez, Mike, newsflash, it's kind of missing from the country right now. The TAP does a great job. There's a few key people that do a good job. Omar does a great job down here of filling up a house with NDO tournaments from time to time, when it's the right mix of people, when he wants, whether it be a handicap or a scratch event. Like I'm saying, he does a great job with that. And there are places around the country that do really good jobs with localized events, but to take a national event and make it like that is true. It doesn't really happen anymore. I do see the PBA moving in the direction of making things desirable to happen again and exciting. I think they're doing a great job with that. And I really hope that that we end up having some live broadcasts from ABC Gates Bowl in the future.
You will.
I think so. We're pretty confident that, we're going to make the changes that we need to the bowling center, modernize it enough, and, reach out to those that are in charge of USBC and PWBA and, to Neil Milligan and, try to lobby as much as we can to get it back here in Rochester.
Absolutely.
One block at a time, we're building the Coliseum.
One block at a time. That's right, Russ. One block at a time. Well, Kelvin and Russ, I thank you both for your time today. We've gone a little longer, but that's because I don't shut up. So, and you put people I know in front of me, and it's even harder. Thank you to everybody who's watching: Terry Decker, Bill Stoddard, Mike Marcanio, Jerry Brunetti. Who else? Maybe it's just Simo. I can't forget Simo, and everybody else who didn't comment. I know we've got a lot of viewers right now. Good luck to you guys. We're gonna see ABC Gates Bowl. ABC, a better choice. We're gonna see ABC Gates Bowl again in the near future, and I promise you, the next time I'm up that way, you better make me some wings, okay?
They're good. Ham's Cafe. Yeah.
Ham's Cafe. All right.
The wings are good.
I love it. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to great things from ABC Gates Bowl. On
Thank you,
behalf
Jay.
of, you're welcome. Don't hang up. On behalf of Cubica AMF and Jay Nephew, thanks for watching Beyond the Frame today. I'll get this right one day. Until then, we'll see you next week. Dottie will be back with a fabulous guest. I'm sorry I can't tell you who it is, but I promise you it's going to be good. All right, be good, everyone. Take care.